I woke up to the smell of old paper and dust. My head throbbed, and for a moment I couldn't remember where I was. Then I sat up, and my heart did a little flip-flop in my chest. This wasn't my bedroom. I was in a small, square room with no windows. The walls were plastered from floor to ceiling with yellowed, faded newspaper clippings. In one corner, a single wooden chair faced an old-fashioned television set with rabbit-ear antennas. The only light came from the TV's screen, which glowed with a fuzzy black and white static. A heavy wooden door stood on the opposite wall, and when I twisted the cold brass knob, it didn't budge. Locked. "Okay, Leo," I whispered to myself, my voice sounding small in the quiet room. "It's just an escape room. Dad probably signed me up for my birthday." It was a weird surprise, but it was the only thing that made sense. I took a deep breath. I was good at puzzles. I could do this. The only sound was the low, constant buzz from the television. Buzz. It was like the hum of a giant sleeping insect. I decided to start by examining the walls. The newspaper articles were from all over the country, with dates going back 50 years. Most of them were boring. Town fairs, local elections, ads for cars that looked like spaceships. But as I scanned the tiny print, I started to feel a chill creep up my spine. The buzzing from the TV seemed to change. It wasn't just a steady hum anymore. Underneath it, I could hear something else. Faint whispers. They were so quiet, I thought I was imagining them at first. The whispers were saying names. Michael, Jessica, Robert. Names I didn't know. They sounded distant, like voices carried on the wind. I shook my head, trying to clear it. I was just tired and spooked. I walked over to the TV, drawn by the strange sound. The screen was a chaotic dance of black and white dots. I leaned closer and saw my own reflection, warped and wavy in the curved glass. My face looked pale and stretched out, my eyes like dark smudges. The static seemed to swirl around my reflection, and for a terrifying second, it felt like it was trying to pull me in. I stumbled back, my heart hammering against my ribs. Okay, not a normal escape room. I turned my attention back to the walls, trying to find a clue, a key, anything. That's when I saw it. A headline, bigger than the rest, right next to the door. The newspaper was the Havenwood Gazette, my hometown paper. The headline read, "Local boy, Leo, trapped in mystery room." I froze. My blood ran cold. Below the headline was a picture. It was me. It was a photo from school picture day last year, my goofy smile and messy hair staring back at me. But the date printed at the top of the paper, it was today's date. This was impossible. My breath hitched. This wasn't a game. I frantically scanned the other articles, my eyes darting from one headline to the next. They were all from the Havenwood Gazette, and they were all about me. Search continues for missing teen. That one was for tomorrow. Parents of Leo hold vigil. That one was for next week. My eyes landed on a small, blurry photo accompanying that article. It was a picture of a crowd of people holding candles. I squinted, trying to see their faces. In the grainy black and white, the faces in the crowd seemed to shift. For just a second, it looked like they were all looking right at me. One of them, a man with a hat, slowly, impossibly smirked. I blinked hard, and the image was normal again. Just a blurry, sad-looking crowd. Suddenly, the buzzing of the TV stopped. The silence was so complete it made my ears ring. Then a voice came out of the speaker. It wasn't a whisper this time. It was a clear, cold voice that sounded like ice cracking. "Leo." I spun around. The TV screen was still just static, but the sound had changed. The low hum was gone, replaced by something that sounded like frantic, muffled screaming. It sounded like it was coming from deep inside the television. It was a horrible, desperate sound that made the hair on my arms stand up. I had to turn it off. I lunged for the TV, my hand searching for a power button, a plug, anything. There was no cord. There was just a single knob on the front. I grabbed it and twisted, but it just spun freely in my hand, clicking uselessly. My fingers brushed against the screen, and the static flared, clinging to my reflection like 1,000 tiny hands. It felt like it was pulling me, trying to drag my reflection deeper into the chaos. I ripped my hand away with a cry. The room felt colder now. I noticed something strange happening on the wall next to the TV. The ink on the newspapers was starting to look wet and shiny. It began to run down the page in black, tear-like streaks. The printed letters dissolved, bleeding into each other and forming new spidery words. I watched in horror as a message formed on the wall. "We see you." I scrambled backwards, tripping over my own feet and landing hard on the floor. I was in the corner farthest from the TV, trying to make myself as small as possible. The screaming from the TV got louder, more intense. It sounded familiar. It sounded like me. The screen flickered. The static vanished, replaced by a crystal-clear image. My heart stopped. I was looking at the back of my own head. I saw my own shoulders, my own blue t-shirt, my own messy brown hair. On the screen, I was sitting on the floor, staring at the TV. I was watching myself, watching the TV. Slowly, I turned my head to look over my shoulder at the locked door. On the screen, my reflection did the exact same thing. A wave of dizziness washed over me. I was trapped. I was being watched. I was the star of this horrible show. Panic gave me a final burst of strength. I couldn't stay here. I jumped to my feet and ran to the wall, not caring about clues anymore. I just wanted out. I dug my fingernails into the edge of a newspaper sheet and pulled. The old paper was dry and brittle, and it ripped away from the wall with a sound like tearing leaves. I braced myself to see concrete or wood behind it, but there was no wall. Behind the newspaper was another screen. It was glowing with the same swirling, screaming static as the TV in the corner. I gasped, stumbling back. My mind couldn't make sense of it. I tore at another section of the wall, ripping away an article about my own future funeral. Behind it was another screen, and another, and another. I clawed at the walls frantically, pulling down sheet after sheet of my own terrible story. Every single one revealed another screen, another window into the same noisy, chaotic void. The screaming was coming from all around me now, a terrible chorus from every direction. The main TV in the corner flickered one last time. The live feed of me was gone. In its place, a new headline appeared, typed out in stark white letters against the black screen. "Leo joins the broadcast." I looked at my reflection in that final clear screen. My mouth was open in a silent scream, but the reflection was smiling. The cold voice spoke again, not from one speaker, but from all of them, surrounding me, swallowing me. I closed my eyes, but it didn't matter. I could still see the static. I was the static.